Greetings. This is Isis. While I am not the same being that you see in the paintings, in the famous paintings, yes, and so on, from Egypt, that being was one of my students. Now I'm going to talk to you today about something that I feel is important because not only was it asked by one of the subscribers to this YouTube Benevolent Magic channel, but it's a pertinent question that I know many of you are considering if you haven't already taken some action on it. This person asked about whether she should begin storing food, not so much for herself, as she put it, but because she is a mother and she is concerned about her children. Given that, I felt it was important to address that issue for you all. Of course, it is simply prudent in general, and if possible, to store enough food that you and your family can get by in any times, good times or bad times, but in any times that will last at least 30 days. If you cannot do this for yourself, then get together with other families and see if one family can store this and another that, and so on. And even if the family is hard up, they might very well be able to store water for everybody. It doesn't have to be individual bottles of water, but the containers that hold the water need to be clean, clear, and safe. Now, this is not advice given because of this or that problem going on in the world. It is just basic, prudent advice. Now, for those of you who are concerned or worried about this and that because of your family circumstances, because of what's going on in your part of the world, by all means, store a little more if you can. And if times are rough for this and that neighbor, good friend, or family member, you might be able to help them out with some of your stores, because not everybody will be able to do this. I'm not trying to create a run on food, because I feel that ultimately, even though there seems to be a great deal of I don't know what's going on questions, the world that you are living in is more stable than you think. Granted, there are a great many people in the world, and you will really have to make as many true friends as you possibly can, and try to create better ties between yourself and other family members, even if it requires some working out of old difficulties. I'm not trying to suggest that this or that disaster is going to happen. Rather, I'm saying that this is a time to discover how much people mean to you and how much you mean to others. So, if you can store 30 days of food, if you can store 60 or 90 days of food, that's fine. If you can store more, that's all right too. I know that there are some religions and philosophies that encourage their people to do this, not only for themselves, but just as much for their community. And by all means, that's fine if you can do it. If you can't, then store what you can, and use it, meaning don't just put it in a closet someplace. Use it in some way like they do in grocery stores, selling the stuff that's, a little older first, with plenty of time before it expires, of course. But that's a good habit for you to do as well. But you know these things. This is a time now when cooperation is going to be not only rewarded, but you are going to have the opportunity to discover how deep your friendships can go. You might be surprised, some of you, to know that even your best friends, your closest friends, do not share things with you that you really would like to know and perhaps even need to know about them. So consider, who can you tell? Who can you trust? If you decide you can trust somebody, make sure that they have the same feeling about you, and take a chance and share something that is important so that your friend will know how to communicate with you, or perhaps discover that something that they say in jest, meaning no harm at all, is actually very painful for you to hear, because they do not know that it somehow involves you. These are times entirely about forgiveness, about creating allies, and about spreading the idea of allies to include people all over the world, as well as in your own neighborhood. It doesn't just have to be people of your religion or people of your philosophy. Sometimes your best friends will have very little in common with you on the basis of religion, philosophy, even thoughts and beliefs in general. But because they are so dear to you, and you so dear to them, they're willing to overlook the way you think, just as you're willing to overlook the way they think or act. Use this as a model to understand how you can get past old blocks between you and other peoples. It is not very far in the future when war will be banned on this planet. It's not going to be some authoritarian government. It's simply going to be a global agreement between all peoples. There will be other issues that come up as a result of that ban, but it's something I'd like you to think about. Keep in mind that when there is war, 90 to 95% of the people that are killed or maimed have had nothing to do with the disputing sides. They were just in the middle of it all. Many of you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a time to find your common ground, and there's no time like the present. Good life to you all.